And we're live. Who all is here? Let's see. Unfinished Project was here early. The One-Eyed Cat. Colleen Tebow, a.k.a. Mama M to the third power. Rapid Transit J was here. Car number 1. And early to the chat. We've got 48 here already. Scrap Iron Racing. The defending Monkey Bike and People's Choice champion. We have JB's Little Shop, 38 Racing, NSB Custom Cars all over the globe already. We've got Unfinished Project putting up the link to Happy Gilmore too. Nice and random. Very good. Busted Radio Garage said thanks for the Christmas card he received today. It's interesting. I really did mail those out early, and it's amazing how long they took. Although, the people who won hats, when we gave away hats on the last live stream, got them in a day and a half, and some of the Christmas cards took 10 days. Just wild, isn't it? Or more, actually more. Dean Stevenson says, I feel so upside down at the moment. Yes, you should. We're on American orientation on this live. Mexican Spec is here. Big Block 402 says, let's go. And we're going. Buff Del Campo said, so many in the chat already. Yeah, we got 57 here. That's right. We're still greeting people. Levi's here. Grand Pito Vic, Dakota's timeout. Yeah, we announced the date so early, and so many of the things we're doing for 2025 so early that this announcement live is a little more laid back. Because we haven't been holding it back. But we do have some new things we want to talk about. Buff Del Campo, Dust Devil Garage. Dust Devil Garage, by the way, will be in the studio here in a little bit. He's going to be talking about something he's going to run. A special bracket for 2025. It's going to be cool. Turbo Tom 416. We were talking about Turbo Tom 416 too. He's got a special role for 2025. Never Done Projects is here. Dakota says, I'm no stranger to timeouts. I think it'd be a good time to give Dakota a timeout so he can go ahead and be getting amped up and ready for 5 minutes from now. I think that'd be a good idea. Lars is here, a.k.a. LP94, Frizzell Racing. We've got Thumper here. I see a super cool 59 Chevy up near the front. Yes, you do. Dr. Go. On Dr. Go's Christmas card, when I addressed it, I put, they call him Dr. Go with a music note, because when I read Dr. Go, I think of the Kiss song, Gene Simmons singing, they call him Dr. Love. I hear Dr. Go to that song. Oh, let's see. 6th Street Garage is here. Me saying I'll be just a few minutes. Yes, that's because Jethro said, hey, man, I want to go out before you go live. Fortunately, it was raining. He'd probably still be dragging me around the yard. Tony's Hot Rod Garage. Glad you could make it. Tony's had a busy day getting all kinds of cool stuff done that I'm sure we'll all get to see in 265 days and 3 hours and 52 and a half minutes. Frizzell says, you guys must think I'm an FE guy or something. That's because, aren't you? Don't you identify as an FE guy? Let's see here. Who all else is here? Old McDonald has a car. All this time waiting, and we get this thumbnail. All this time waiting, and all we get is this thumbnail? Well, I don't even know what that means. You get to think the thumbnail for a couple of minutes. FE stands for Leak Pit. I can get on board with that. Dizzy says, looks like a full house. Good evening, folks. Yeah, we've got 68 here, and we're still greeting people. My Aunt Nancy's watching. Cool. Thanks for joining us. Rob's Rods and Street Cars. Backwoods Custom Crap. I really like a channel that's named for what you bring. Hot Rod Guy Garage, a.k.a. Russell Dick, the Van Man 90. Andrew Nelson. Thank you for the Christmas card. I appreciate it. That was really great. Love their card. Their sense of family is a part of their success. It's kind of a hidden gem. My mom is watching. And Jethro by default, I guess. Pure Pontiac Garage. watching. Thank you for being here. Warning Labels Racing, AK, the auto salvage outlaw himself. Mopar's Mustangs and Minivans. Land Yacht Garage. That's a new face, new name here. Rusted Metal Garage. I like these channels that are appropriately named. You look like you're sitting in a shipping container there. That's all good. That works. Keep strong. My goodness. Comments coming as fast. I'm having a hard time getting it caught up. Big Block 402 says, I may be on 2 new knees this year at No Name Nationals, so may not be doing much. Being there is a whole lot of the No Name Nationals, though, right? I mean, isn't it fun? Thumper says, should I do a poll? Bring the 68 Le Mans, a.k.a. the Jerk, or the 71 Ventura, Ace Ventura, to the No Name Nationals this year. So Thumper's looking for solicited advice. You shouldn't have told him it's solicited advice, Thumper, because the internet likes unsolicited advice. If you tell them you're looking for it, you won't get nearly as much. 38 Racing says both. Works for me. My mom is telling Dean Stevens I've been a good boy. I don't know what's up with that, but okay. Warning Labels Racing says 266 days now. Time to register to get your subs now. Yes, it is. We've had lots of bonus time. Last year, I think our counter kicked off at 265. This year, we're 266 today at the announcement, but we put up over 300 days this year because circumstances allowed us to announce a date earlier than ever before. So we took advantage of that. Old Man Weeb and Sons, 266. Woohoo. Good to see the new faces in here. Big Mike Soupy Barn. I was wearing my Big Mike Green Goblin shirt today, but I figured I should change to the slightly more official looking polo for this. All righty. Dakota says Tang. Twisted Mopar Dennis is here. One-Eyed Cat says 412 miles today, but the new converter is hand. Thank you, in hand. Thank you, Mike Ivan. Cool. Glad you made that road trip. You're going to like that converter. He's done a lot of great converters for this community. Turbo Tom says mine is an updraft carburetor. That's right. I'll get Candy Cane there. We'll have to let my brother drive it. That'll work. Or you could do one of those like handicap-looking control things. Boy, wouldn't that be interesting? Dean says, I'm still banned from Rich's channel. Boy, isn't that a circus? I was watching just a few minutes of that live today. Poor fella. He thought our community was hard on him. Yes, and he found out. He had to touch the stove. Andrew Nelson says, was that the James and James Nova hanging the hides at the beginning? Yes, it was. And I got to see that from the tower. It was a great view. Warning Labels Racing says his phone's about dead, but it's a blast there. If you haven't been, get there. Yes, indeed. Make it happen. You've got 265 days, 3 hours, and 47 and a half minutes. Plenty of time. Plenty of time if you use it right. Mean Street Mopar. How you doing, sir? Thumper likes solicited and unsolicited. Okay. The Jerk was a better movie, yeah. 1974, Steve Martin, if I recall, has a Dodge Dart in it where he was hiding behind from cover for gunfire. I remember that distinctly. All right, Peckerwood Customs, Aaron from the other side of the universe over in Australia. Kim Fixes Things, Indirect Connection, Jason, glad you're here. 38 Racing says the first shipment of his 2025 parts for the No Name National showed up today. He is getting on it. Finger Tight Jones says righty tighty. That's right. Finger Tight Jones strikes again. And I think we're caught up. Well, cool. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Got a full house. You know, we're live every Friday. Every Friday I humanly can. And tonight's the night we make the announcement. So we got some things we're going to tell you about that we're trying to change up just a little bit for 2025. Nothing huge. You guys will remember the infamous quote, this is the greatest country in the world. Now let's change it. I'm not that guy. This is the greatest community in the world. And we don't want to change what works. But what we do want to do is keep making refinements, improvements. So a couple things I'll let you guys know about. Obviously, you have the dates. The 266 back here correlates to September the 18th. So it is the same weekend in September, except the day obviously moves up one because that's what it would do going from a leap year to a non-leap year. It would move up one. And that does correlate to the same weekend in September. So it'll be Thursday, September 18th, Friday, September 19th, and Saturday, September 20th. That flow of the event is the same. And for those of you new, since we've got a lot of new folks in here, we'll let you know that generally what happens is that I'm there, I get there sometime on Tuesday. And usually the way, you know, all these luck and things work is it might be 10 o'clock at night, it might be 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Whatever it is whatever it is. But on Wednesday at 7 a.m., I'm there, gate open. That's a work day. That's not a hangout day. I mean, you know, if you want to hang out in the pits, that's fine. But some of us are there. We got to get stuff set up. We got to work. So our gates are open at 7 o'clock in the morning on Wednesday. And you'd be surprised how many people we have pile in on Wednesday. We look like we have a pretty full house there on Wednesday, actually, because we have long haulers. You got to realize if it's taking you 2 or 3 days of travel, which, you know, some of our guys, it takes that much travel, you don't want something going wrong on your trip. And so a lot of people will budget that extra time. Tony's Hot Rod Garage, perfect example. He budgets to land on a Wednesday because if something breaks, something goes wrong, Tony's a talented mechanic. He can fix it as quick as anybody out there. But the thing is, you still have to have the time. And you still want to make sure that you have that budget. So we still have a lot of people get it there on Wednesdays. And that's fine. But remember, Wednesday is a work day. And then and you can camp on site. Thursday, though, tech opens early in the morning. We opened tech at 7 a.m. this past year. We're again going to do that. That was very helpful. If you get there on Wednesday and you can get to tech as soon as it opens, great. Do that. That's helpful. The more people who can get into tech early, the more room it makes for those who get there later, because some people can't get there until Thursday later, or they can't get there till Friday, which is fine. If you can't get there till Friday or even Saturday, we'll have tech available for you. But remember, the event will be going on while you're getting teched. So get teched as early as you can. I want to move Lambert's cruise up just a little bit this year if possible. And the reason being, I mean, I would love to move it to just like 6 p.m. Ordinarily. But if we move it up a little bit, it gives us more time, because that's a long wait and all getting in there. There's no beating the crowd. We are the crowd, right? I mean, we literally take probably 150 people over there. So we want to go, I may move it up to 4, and it's going to depend on one thing. I really want to bring back the movie. That movie, oh my gosh, the picture, the sound, everything was great. Everything turned out great with the movie, except attendance. Because a lot of people, after they've driven, say, 800 miles on that Thursday, are just beat to death, and they want to just hang out and chill and sleep on Thursday evening. Shop 209, the dates are going to be September 18th, 19th, and 20th, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Same weekend as this past year. So we might move the cruise up a little bit. I won't move it any earlier than 4. May still be 5. It was 5 this past year. Won't be any earlier than 4. However, we got some less than stellar feedback from the Scott County Sheriff's Office this past year, because people were going early. They were carrying on a little bit. They did not stick together with the cruise. You know, that's the thing about YouTubers. I mean, when half of them want to go early so they can film the cruise, there's nobody in the cruise to film. We're going to change that this year. So this year, my solution is we're going to keep the gate. We're going to hold everybody at the gate early, like a half hour early. And we're going to have a pace car. So, excuse me, the road is a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. And we have one car on the property, well, at least one, that the top speed is about 45 miles an hour. So Turbo Tom has graciously agreed to be our pace car for 2025. So we're going to have a 1916 Model T Ford keeping people within the speed limit and together. So we're going to leave together and all get there. and put on the most impressive cruise parade into Lambert's that anyone's ever seen. This cruise should top all previous years. Don't worry about getting video. I'm going to make sure that we've got some good videographers staked out to get good video of this cruise. Don't worry about that. Get in the cruise. Sheriff's Office is really nice. They wanted to give us some leeway so that, you know, stuff that's loud, stuff that, you know, you might get some flack for driving normally. They understand we're in this cruise and parade together. People are going to drive responsibly. We're going to leave together. We'll come back the same time. And they want to help us out, so we need to help them out. So Brian says, knuckle duster, top speed of 45. I don't know what you cleared the trap set in that car, but I'm happy for you. But no, that's the deal. We're going to have a pace car. We'll have our time at Lambert's to hang out, socialize, have our car show over there. We want to try to get out more, you know, participation in the car show this year. We're going to do some things to work on that. But I have said if I can get 150 pre-registrations by Memorial Day, I really want to bring back the movie. And Grand Pito Vic says, can we do the Thursday night cruise if we're signed up for Friday and Saturday? Yes. In fact, anybody can do the cruise. Spectators can do the cruise. Thursday is free for everybody because there's no racing at the track. The track has to be cold. There are reasons for that. So the track can't go hot until Friday, but anybody can participate in the cruise. In fact, the locals who are not YouTubers at all, hey, they can participate in the cruise. They can participate in the car show at Lambert's. Thursday's free for everybody, including the movie if we have it. I really want to bring back the movie. We just need to see if we have enough interest to do so. 2 hacks, no wheelies. Yeah. No wheelies. No leaving off the trans brake, burning out. None of that stuff for the cruise. We got a great burnout pit. We've got a drag strip. We've got the place for those things. Sean O'Brien is here. Thanks for coming in. And Grandma Vic. 2 hacks, Jeff. Howdy. So yeah, that's the plan for that. If I can get enough commitment early, like I said, I'd like to bring back the movie. I've got a short list of things that I think would be good to show. And there's a lot that goes into what we would show and why. Lots of reasons, things that we wouldn't show. We definitely want to keep the event family friendly. And then there's also, you know, getting a license to show it because we run a clean program and we do what we're supposed to do. We get a license to show our movies. Still 500 subs. Yes, sir. You need 500 subs to race, burnout competition, and that sort of thing. And now is the perfect time to register and get into the No Name 500. And you'll have the community, we'll have the wind to your back helping you. And we have content creator workshops to help you earn them. And I will tell you, we've had an awful lot of people make it. I think we've had 80 channels make it through the No Name 500. About a 70% graduation rate, so it is totally doable. Unity Motorsports Garage, Andy is in the house. How's it going, sir? In fact, I rode shotgun with Andy over to Lambert's last year. What was the last movie? We had Smokey and the Bandit on a 40-foot screen. Yes, we did. Never Done Project says, I hope I can be off work and I hope we can get past tech. Well, you can get past tech if you want to. Tech is not that bad. It's mostly stuff that people should have done anyway. A lot of it's just deferred maintenance type stuff. But that said, we're going to have Deke Denny on at least 2 different live streams. He's our tech director. He's our tech inspector official. And so he's the one that's going to be actually inspecting your vehicles. And we have him on at least 2 live streams every year. And throughout the year, you can email me pictures and tech questions. I can get them to Deke, and we can get you answers. And I'll tell you, if you have something really specific and odd that's not cut and dry in the book, you're YouTubers. Make us a short showing what you want us to see. And it doesn't even have to be. It can be an unlisted short if you want, or you can make it public. It doesn't matter. And if you want an official opinion on it, that's a good way to do it. But the more proactive you are with passing tech, the easier time you're going to have. Dizzy Izzy is here, says he's in Valley Park, Missouri, and Blue Creek Garage is near here also. Yes, indeed. Yep, Indirect Connection says Smokey and the Bandit. I believe that's Jason's favorite movie, too. Fast Stang 89. Hello, sir. This year, Christine. No, specifically not Christine. I got little kids there and stuff. They don't need to see people on fire and everything else. That's the thing. I mean, it's a good movie. You know, there's a lot of good movies that we won't show for that reason, but there's a lot of great movies we can and will. I have a really good one in mind I think would be very popular. And there's a lot of movies, too, that you have the problem. Like if there's a moratorium and you can't get a license to show them, just wait till next year or whatever. I found out that what the studios do is they'll put a moratorium on showing movies and getting a license for them because they want to basically hold it up and create an artificial demand if they're putting out a new edition Blu-ray or DVD or something. That's a big thing they do. So one movie we were thinking about showing the year before and we couldn't was because of the 50th anniversary. And so we couldn't get a license for it. No problem. I'm not looking forward to the 50th anniversary of Smokey and the Bandit because that means I'm 50. Mike Ippin's asking Don if his converter is pretty enough. It's like that pretty valve body we did, Mike. It's just going to get hidden anyway. Big Block 402 says, Tech has made my truck the safest it's ever been, and it's not hard. That's correct. And if you have a good attitude like Steven does, it's not a problem. And that's true with Don's car, too. Don's car had a lot of things that are like, hey, man, I'd never thought about that before. Yeah, well, I never thought about that. Don has he's made his car over end to end. It's amazing how far his car's improved from Tech. When I was up there dropping off his transmission, I was like, wow, it's amazing. He's got all his stuff squared away, his wiring and fuel lines and battery in the box. And he even took he has an aluminum fuel cell. It's really unique. It's made out of a fuel tank off of a big truck, which is cool. But it needed to be seam welded and stuff and put together right. And Don took it out and had all that done and revamped the front end. And he's going to do some improvements on the brakes. And seeing those benefits pay off all year long on your car. Your car is safer all the time, not just at the No Name Nationals. So we have one registered No Name 500 channel right now, and that's Indecisive Garage. He's got 37 subs. That's Tim Jacobson. He has Cope's infamous E4OD valve body in his truck, and you get to see some good footage of that. Cool guy. He's got a Lightning clone, supercharged F-150. But he's registered right now. So we actually have, and I don't normally give numbers, but I don't care this early. We have 28 cars registered right now. 28 registered before the announcement was even made. And they come and go in waves and whatnot. But we'll probably have several more tonight. But then they trickle in throughout the year. Like I said, I would love to see 150 pre-registrations by Memorial Day. That does a lot of things for us. It basically shores up paying for the event ahead of time so that we're not as dependent on the gate and merch and things like that. So that's what we're hoping for. It gives us also a hedge against something like a rainout. Lars puts up the link. Here's a live from last year with Deke. Yes, we try to have him at least twice a year. And you can come and ask your questions, and sometimes you guys have a question that's something that's like, you know what, maybe we hadn't heard of that. I have to go back and do a little research, get back with you, and we do. Never Done Project says, I'm sure we can get it figured out. Stock car's just missing a dash. You would not be the first stock car that's come to the No Name Nationals. There's one of the most exciting races of the first season was Russell Merriman, Outfits Garage, running his stock car down the track. You can tell he's a guy who's used to racing on dirt. He had that car sideways at the wall. I don't think the guy ever broke a sweat. Yeah, Jason's in the same boat as me. If Smokey and the Bandit's 50, I'm 50, and he's 50. Unity Motorsports Garages. What's up, Big Block 402? Right there. There's two fast trucks. Two fast trucks. Big Block 402 and Unity Motorsports Garage. Shop 209 says Hopper is a great movie too. Yeah, there's lots of great movies. Two Lane Blacktop. There's lots of great movies out there. Some of them I just think it's more family friendly, if not marginally more family friendly. One thing you do have to remember is that PG-13, say in the 70s and 80s, is not the PG or of today, right? They didn't have PG-13 until 1984 because of movies like Gremlins and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. And they decided there needs to be something between, but they didn't have that back then. So most of what was PG then would be PG-13 today. Just the way it is. I watched Christine when I was a little kid. Sure. Christine's a good movie. That's the fun of it, though. Kids need to learn not to vandalize other people's cars. Say no to Fast and Furious. I got to tell you, I know this crowd would have no use for it, but I think the very first movie had a lot of merits. I actually think that was a good movie. I'm not saying it's my style, because it's not. But I think the first movie was a good movie. The rest of it, you can file 13 them all. But the first one was actually a really good movie. But I don't think it's... Our crowd is primarily 45 to 65-year-old, white male. That's the majority of our demographic. That's about probably, I would say, 80 to 85% of our viewer demographic. Not Fast and Furious people. Tunnel Ram Mafia, OG. That is right. I'm going to be wearing a lot of my channel shirts, over the course of the year, like Big Mike's Empty Barn, Unity Motorsports Garage. I love a Tunnel Ram shirt. But I figured tonight I would be non-denominational, so to speak, and wear my staff shirt. The movie Duel, kind of the same thing. A lot of the scary ones, just, I have some ideas, stuff that you'll like. But the big thing is we just want to have turnout. Another big thing about turnout, we want the community to turn out for the movies. So we're going to be working on that too. And the more turnout we have at the movie, the more turnout we're going to have for things like concession stands. That's going to help the track. That's going to help everybody. So, Andy, there is a new member request for the Tunnel Ram Mafia now. Cool. Is there a way to list what the No Name Nationals 500 alums started at? So I think the second year I started keeping stats on how many subs they had when they registered. And so I think that the perfect time to do what you're asking is do it on a content creator workshop, because we're talking about subs. And so I can list a lot of channels and say, hey, this is where they started. This is where they are now. So we can probably do that. It's not a stat that I kept the first year, but I kept it the second. In fact, I do it now. When people register, I note how many subs they have when they registered for that very reason, so we can see trends of growth. Nick the Van Man 90 says, Deke will work with you and offer quick, easy solutions. Tech is firm but fair at this event, far less stressful than most. Yeah, Deke, that's a good description of Deke. He'll work with you and he's firm but fair. We worked with people last year. We did. Some things we just have to say no. Some things we say, hey, man, if you just can do this, we'll let it go. Sometimes it's a one race exception, depending on what it is. I mean, we've traditionally given guys a little leeway their first year on out-of-date belts. But, don't bring, if you've been here 3 years, you come to us the fourth time with out-of-date belts, you already know, right? You already know. We had several guys who were new last year that came with belts that were a year or 2 or 3 out of date, and they looked great. They didn't have any evidence of sunbathing or anything like that their first year, but now they know, right? So we're firm, we're fair, we work with people the best we can. And the thing is and this will be more geared toward tech, because we're going to get into that obviously as the season goes on. But one thing about tech is, we'll tell people, the question they ask is, I wonder if my car needs a cage. And the first thing I'll ask them is, has it ever been down the drag strip? Well, no. I'm like, well, then you don't have any idea how quick the car is anyway. So the answer is almost certainly not, at least not yet. Because if the car's never been down the track before, you're probably going to spend your whole first outing trying to sort it out to even get a pass, much less one quick enough. Mustang 89 has a Lightning clone with a 4.6. Cool. Frizzell says she's happy with those VRS carburetors. I know somebody else in our community just got a pair of VRS carburetors. I'm sure we'll be seeing content on those. And if they buy them in pairs, you know what that means. Rapid Transit J is working on having 2 cars this year again, Dart and Barracuda. Right on. So you're going to bring the Barracuda that you took to Copes? Got to bring back the grudge racing. You guys can do all the grudge racing you want. You guys need to bring back the grudge racing. You guys bring that back. SSR Performance says, what's up? Well, you see it, man. Thanks for joining us. We've actually got the announcement live tonight, even though you've had the dates far earlier. Danny Boy says, nothing like the life of a Hollywood stuntman. Lee Majors would agree. Big James is here. Yes, he is. Get the call-out videos rolling again. Yes, sir. You do it, Mark. Be first. We need more of that. And we saw a lot more of that the first year. And then it tapered off because what happened is, unfortunately, people realize you can have all your stuff together. And if you call somebody out that doesn't show up, it just falls flat on its face. So you got to have people engaged who are part of it. That's an important part of a call-out, right? Is having a dance partner who shows up. Dust Devil Garage says, I'd love to see the Fast and Furious. I think it'd be a great movie. I just don't know if it's right for this crowd. And if we had a popular demand for it, I'd do it. Direct connection. My kids live with me and my wife. There's no such thing as PG-13 in this house. Every day is a drive through downtown Milwaukee or Chicago with Jason. Twisted Dennis said, pretty well waiting for spring in 80 days. Hey, whatever works for you. SSR Performances, hope everyone's doing good headed into the new year. Mama M3 says, Jaws is my favorite movie at 6. If you don't think I'd like to see Jaws, one of the greatest movies of all time on a 40-foot screen outdoors, you're wrong, but not there. It's a great movie. And it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. In 1975, you could have a movie where a shark bites somebody in half and gets PG rating. You wouldn't have that today. But I just don't think it's right for there. Dust Devil Garage says, my vote would have to go to Cannonball Run. It's a good choice. Jaws in Reverse is a heartwarming story of a shark that donates arms and legs to amputees. That's how they would write it today, I'm sure. I don't know who you're talking to, Fast Stang, but that ship has sailed. The first year was a lot of people starting from the bottom. Yes, the No Name 500 itself has gotten a little smaller as the years have gone on, but not the event. That's because there were more people that were trying to get their subscriber counts up. So, but they have re-registered as established channels in subsequent years. So the event has grown, but the No Name 500 has actually gotten a little smaller. The quality is still very good, though. Of 3 seasons with the No Name 500, we've had rock stars every one of them. So that's great. LSS Drone Photography. Hello, sir. How's it going? Not to be confused with any of the mystery drones that are flying over New Jersey. Are there hotels near there that you know of? Yes, there are. Probably the nicest of which would be the Drury. The Drury, and then the Pear Tree, Best Western, right around the corner from there is okay. All 3 of those I can vouch for. Some of the others, I've just heard sketchy reports on. If you've stayed somewhere and you liked it and you want to make a suggestion to Grandma Vic, go for it. I will say that the Drury, if we're ever going to have a deal cut as like a host hotel, it will probably be them. But they're nice. They're nice. The only bone I have with the Drury at all is I think that they are outrageous on their pet fee. I mean, it's just ridiculous. $50 a day. Well, as long as I'm there, that just eat me up. Now, I will say that you asked about hotels, so I answered about hotels. Camping is very popular. A lot of people like to camp, and I've heard a number of people say, I'm going to camp the next year. I stayed in a hotel this year, and I found out that the place to be is at the track the whole time. So camping is very popular. I've done both. And when I say camping, people get creative. I slept in the back of a U-Haul. People sleep in tents. They slept in a bucket of a JLG lift, front seat of their car, back of a truck, the ground. People, tents, but yeah, everywhere, right? World's Fastest Indian be a great movie. Yeah, maybe. But that said, rather than worry about what the movie is, let's get registrations up to see if we can try to justify it. Sean O'Brien found out about the No Name 500 with 300-ish. She now has 1,300. Yes, sir. All right. I'm behind. I'm going to scan up a little bit. And that said, so I want to let you know, we got a guest coming in here in just a few minutes. Corvette Summer just kidding. Yeah, maybe. That's actually a good possibility. Maybe. Someone needs to buy NMRA and bring that back. You know what? Back when that was the NMCA in the from 88 to say 2000, that was excellent. It's that acquisition of the NMRA that turned it all into the stuff that killed it, in my opinion. Nick the Van Man bring 2 right on. Just call someone out to show up. I agree. That's up to you guys. Heavens Mopar Scott, who, by the way, Heavens Mopar Scott is the recipient of the 3rd annual No Name Nationals Inspirational Clock for the person who seems to have bitten off more than they can chew. And we don't know who's going to get the clock this year. I try to have that figured out by the 1st of February. But it'll happen. Bruce Colgin's here. Fast Company. Nightmare on Elm Street. Yep, I'll take movies we'll never show there for 300, Alex. Yes, Lars says order No Name Nationals hoodies and hats. So, in one thing we've done in the off season, for those of you who don't know, we now have hoodies and hats. We had hats at No Name Nationals. They sold out quickly, but now it's something that we actually keep in stock. You can get them from Gunslinger Graphics directly right there. They're going to be up on our site soon. There is a link below this video. So if you want a No Name Nationals hoodie, you can go there and get it. And we've got 2 different grades. We've got a nice classic Gildan there, and we've got a slightly more upscale Port and Company. I have each. They're both great. Tips on growing a channel. Yes, lots of folks here can give you good advice on growing a channel. But one thing I will say is that a few times a year, usually 3, could do it a 4th, I don't know, we have a content creator workshop. And it is just exactly for that. It's for people who are newer to YouTube. But we have people with 50, 60,000 subs tune in anyway. And they say, there's always some little tidbit we get from tuning in. But it's geared toward newer channels who are trying to get their 500 subscribers to qualify for the No Name Nationals. And that will be the perfect place for that, Land Yacht Garage. And it'll be here on this channel. We usually do them on Sunday afternoons, maybe every other month or so, something like that. And I have a guest on who is an accomplished YouTuber who has built a channel from the ground up so that they have that experience. I did too, but I try to get people who know more stuff than me because, gosh, why would I not want to do that? So look forward to a few of those throughout the year, and they will help you. And I made a challenge to the No Name 500 this past year that really helped everybody. So, we make such a challenge, we would make it here on a Friday night. Unfinished Project is saying produce content. He is correct. And we can help you refine that content to get the most out of it. RC Industry says we booked at the Pear Tree. It's a very nice place. Yes, it is. There are no mystery drones coming from his house. Good to know. Camping at the track is awesome. Yes, it is. Big Block 402 says, join the No Name 500 and they help you grow. Yes, we do. And so the thing is, coming from me, you'll say, well, that's a conflict of interest, registering early. Well, first of all, I don't take any money from this event whatsoever. Second of all, if you register early, it will help you because people will come to my channel to see who's actually registered. Because as you can imagine, there's a lot of people who make noise about it and they just never do. And now that we're on our 4th annual event, people have figured out there are some people who are never going to do anything. And so what happens is, and there's a lot of static. But when you're registered, it shows, and you have fewer than 500 subs and you're registered, you go on my channel and says, hey, I'm willing to try. I'm risking my ego. I've put my channel out there, and it's like, hey, man, outstretched hands to help you grow. And so when you get close, when you get up and around 475 or so, we have a 500 party right here on this channel. And now it could be any time. It could be at 11 o'clock at night on a Tuesday or something. You never know. But we'll do it when you get really close, and we don't advertise those. But the community will just stop by, and they'll all rally to help you. They'll share your channel out on social media everywhere, and we pretty much always get people over the top. But we want to see you do your part too. Big Block 402 says, I always sleep the first night in my truck. That's a good tradition. I got to say, too, I've camped there, and I've never had a problem with mosquitoes or anything. The weather is perfect. The weather is just perfect. 6% recycled Scott is here. Howdy, sir. Driving Miss Daisy. I love that movie. I don't know that it goes to the theme of the event, but it's a great movie. Mohawk said, I made my bed right after I got my car off of it. Okay. Watch time is a hard one. If you make content and you keep growing, you'll get the watch time. It'll happen. It'll take care of itself. NSB Custom Cars. Looks like we need to dust off the old Bigfoot costume. Right on. I'd be all for that. Let's see. Mexican Spec says the 87 RS Camaro was a test to see if the RS would sell. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's like the base Camaro or whatever. RC Industry says, I always try to watch content creator lives that you do. They are always informative. Yeah, I always try to get what makes the content creator workshops or the guests I have and the people asking questions. I just host it. Levi says, I had to stand in someone else's shower dirt. Yeah, bring shower shoes. There are shower houses. Any special classes this year? Yes, we've got a couple of things we're going to touch on here in just a little bit. Got a guest coming up here in just a couple minutes. We'll get caught up on comments, and then we'll bring him in. A couple new things. Talk about one here in a few minutes, and then I got another one at the top of the hour. 2 new things we're doing. Let me get caught up on comments here. So we got a lot going on. A lot of people here tonight. I've seen people gain 60 plus subs in one workshop live stream. Well, those would be generally like we have the 500 parties, usually where you see all the subs be gained. Although that said, I've seen a lot of people gain well more subs than that from what they learn in the content creator workshops. 2 Hacks Jeff says, my 2 cents, good thumbnail, microphone, tripod, and upload consistently. I got to tell you, listen to Jeff, because Jeff registered for the No Name 500 when he had 0 subs. I was his first subscriber, and Jeff has over 10,000 now. So he knows what he's talking about. NYSGTO, no, sir. RC Industry said, I had less than 500 subscribers the very first year and got my subs right away. You also started with about 450, and you were the first to cross the finish line, but you were starting from 450, 90% of the way there. All right, where do I join the No Name 500? There's a link pinned at the top, and you can register for the event. Now, to register for the event, registration fee is per car, and a car includes 1 human handler, is $90. But that's where you actually register for the event. It's your commitment to register and to be there. You're saying, hey, I'm trying to make it in the No Name 500. All right. Just about got our comments caught up. Stick shift class, not necessarily a class per se. I do want to do a stick car bracket. I'm caught up on our comments here. Then I'm going to come over to a couple of guests. LSS Drone Photography is trying to get 500 just to get them. Cool. If you've not registered Unfinished Product, put up the link here. It is also pinned at the top. Grand Pito Vic said, I got 48 in 30 minutes doing a 500 live. Yeah, but he was close. Scrap Iron Racing, we can only dream, but I don't think they'll ever do that. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you're talking about a class, but I'd like to have a stick car bracket on the Wednesday, and we're coming to that. You talk about a class, it's going to depend who all shows up. Get the Brewers to come back. Get some more stick cars interested. But when you talk about a class, now you're talking this narrow little racing entity that everybody's going to want to build around their car. Very hard to do for something like the No Name Nationals. All right, but with that, let's we got some guests to bring in. First guest I'm going to bring in, Dust Devil Garage Brian.
Howdy.
He is a member of the OG class of the No Name 500. He is an original. And he ground it out and he made it. And have you got any words of wisdom for these guys before we talk about your new thing you're doing?
Just do videos.
Yeah, make that.
Listen to what these guys say. Take that to heart. But I've always found the biggest thing is just do videos.
And the videos don't have to be of your car. You see something cool on the way to work, you can do that too, whatever.
Yeah, even videos of anything.
Now, tell people what you want to do this year, because I thought it was a great idea. And
okay, what I'm wanting to propose for this year, and I've gotten the okay, is a van-only bracket race. If we basically follow the rules of the regular bracket race, same tree, same everything else, you got to pass tech for, however fast your van is. And then the only other rule is it a van? Minivans, panel vans, but is it a van? And I actually think I'm having fun with people asking me questions. Well, is this a van? Well, if you can convince me that it's a van, I'd say I'd probably let it in. But you got to it's going to take some convincing if it's not really a van. Station wagons are not vans. Never will be vans. No.
I'll answer this real quick for Land Yacht Garage. Kind of uneducated on this, but in order to register, you must have a minimum. No, you can register with no subs at all, but you have to have 500 come race day to race or participate in the burnout competition. So you have to have 500 to get your car number to participate in those things. You can register right now. You can register with no subs at all, and you'll be in what's called the No Name 500. That's the folks who are trying to get their 500 subs.
And that right there is a big boost. Just getting into the No Name 500 is a boost because then people see you out there.
No, vans are not wagons. Wagons are not vans.
No.
So
I had a couple other stipulations that I came up with. You have to be in order to sign up for the van only bracket race, or say you're going to do it or whatever. You got to be registered to the No Name Nationals. That's kind of a given, but I'd like to see everybody make a video, not just show up with a van and then run the van bracket. Actually make a video saying, hey, I want to be in this van bracket. Here's the van I'm wanting to bring. Here's what I'm wanting to do to it, whatever. But I would really like to see people make a video. And if you sign up before Memorial Day, so I'm helping push this Memorial Day thing. I'm working it out with Tony, and I'm going to buy personally out of my pocket everyone who enters this race a T-shirt. So if there's going to be a T-shirt, a van race, whatever I can end up calling the van race, everybody's going to get a T-shirt. Going to get your size, and then when you get there at No Name, you just come see me. I'll hand you your T-shirt and write your name down. But you'd have to get with me, or have John get with me. I don't know how we work that out, but because I want to keep up a list of who all is in the van race too.
I think what Brian is trying to accomplish here, and I understand this completely, is that we want people to put some skin in the game. We want them to register. We want them to declare. We want them to make a video, do all the things that are showing that you're serious about it. Because it's just too easy for people to, when it comes right down to it, there are some people who are not going to drive across 3 or 4 states and take the time off to come to the No Name Nationals. But there's a whole lot of people who will. And we want to make sure that people show up. And we want to make sure that they, have their van bracket. And so I think we're going to have a good turnout for it. It sounds really cool.
And it's fun. It's doing it for fun, That's just something I thought of something that would be fun for people to watch. But what you were talking about, there's one person that was there the first 2 years. I'm not going to mention any names. He has a decent sized channel. He made one video, both years, made one video 2 weeks away from the event saying he was going to show up. And then he had one video on the event afterwards. And that's all he did about the whole thing. That's not helping the event. You just making one video with 2 weeks, that's not helping the event. We need to start making videos on this now, saying we're going to be here now. This is what we're doing now.
I will say there are people who are concerned about registering early. Couple of things on that. Number one, it costs $90 to register a car, and that includes one human handler. So if 2 people come in one car, it's $90 plus a weekend pass for your spectator, right? If 2 people bring 2 cars, it's just 2 cars because that each includes one human handler with each car, right? Okay. If your car doesn't make it, let's say your car is apart in 75,000 pieces in August and your car's not going to make it, still show up and come out because your registration still covers your spectator admission and you will have a ton of fun. In fact, I'm not telling anybody don't bring your car. If you can't bring your car, bring your car. But if you can't, you're going to find out, well, my car's all perfect. Man, I'm having a lot of fun. Just talking and hanging out and cruising the pits and having fun.
That's where I was the first year. I didn't bring my car the first year, but I still came and I had the most fun at any event I have ever had. And I go to a lot of events.
Say hi to Street Fox Mike. How's it going, sir? Tony's Hot Rod Garage in the house. He is the maker of merch. And if you want No Name Nationals hoodie or hat, there's a link down below to get that. Kim Fixes Things says, if you follow other No Name Nationals channels, you'll have a great time if you race or not, or if you have 500 subs or not. I would agree with that. Or even if you don't, you're going to meet a lot of great people. You can't leave there with fewer friends than you had when you got there. How about that? And also, while we've got him here, I'm going to point to that clock in Brian's studio there. So for those of you who are new, and Brian has the very first one, and it's evolved a little bit. The 4th one's probably going to be the most evolved yet. But that clock is the inspirational clock that we give off to the person that we give out to the person we think has bitten off a little more than they can chew. And it's all in good fun, and it has different sections on it, and they're all custom. Like there's nothing generic about that clock. I mean, it's Brian's clock is if you notice, it goes from green to red, and it talks about the urgency of things that are happening on the dial getting there, right?
Isn't there a curse of the clock, though? I mean, isn't that showing up? I think it's starting to show up. We need to find somebody this year that's going to break the curse. Somebody needs to break the curse.
I don't think it's a curse, but I will tell you what, whoever gets it, it's in good fun. And, we're going to know probably about the first week of February is usually we make that decision. And we've got some people in mind who we think would probably be good candidates to get that clock. And if you get the clock, understand, it's, we consider that an honor. I mean, we're telling you, we like you. We're cheering you on. Like we wouldn't give it to anybody we're not cheering on. But, there's a lot of good things, opportunities for making content of things that are on that clock too. Dizzy says, Land Yacht Garage, you're a young guy and getting in now. You'll be coming to the No Name Nationals yearly. We'll help you get your 500 and get in on the lives like Dust Devil Garage here. Yes, there's lots of opportunities to get your name out there through the various live streams done in this community. Anything else you want people to know about the van bracket? We're still thinking of trying to have a turnout of at least 8 vans, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. It's at least 8.
8 to 16.
I'm hoping it doesn't go over 10 because it's going to be a lot for me to handle.
That's okay. We'll manage it. But the van bracket will be fun. Some kind of trophy for the winner.
I'm going to come up with a trophy too. Yeah.
And for the van bracket, you still have to meet the rules of the event. You still have to have your 500 subs.
Yep. Still have 500 subs. Everything else. Yeah.
You gotta be registered. Thing is, though, wouldn't it be cool to be in the No Name 500? You register, you're trying to get your subs, and you're making content with the van you're bringing for the van bracket.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about that. Now you've got people who are calling you out, and you're just trying to qualify to get there. That's a fun thing to do, and you got plenty of time to do it. Kim fixes things, says, "Well, I run my van." No, I cannot. I got plenty to do there at that event without even thinking about such things.
Yeah, I wish you could, but we all understand you're busy.
Well, most people don't understand.
Oh, I understand it. I see. I hardly get to talk to you at the event till after.
I know. For real. I spent more time talking to Brian on Sunday after everybody else had loaded up and left than I did the whole event.
And okay, look, that's another thing too. If you get a van and you bring a van to this event and run the van bracket, you can save hotel fees because you will have a place to sleep.
Yeah. A lot of people just crash, stay in the van. That's right.
My van that I'm going to run in the bracket is going to be my tow vehicle.
That's right. And a lot of people can do that. They can, bring their van as a tow vehicle, and it's a good idea. Land Yacht Garage says 30 race, and I'm in New Hampshire, a long ways. We have people who come from even farther than that, though. So you're in good company if you decide to make the trek. Anything else you want people to know about your van bracket?
Not really. Is there anything you can think of? I can't think of anything.
Well, we will say that, it's got to be a van. And you don't want to make this too hard. If you have any questions of whether or not it's a van, just ask. Ask Brian.
Yeah. Brian
will make the determination on that. But it's broad. It's not like too exclusive. But there's a lot of vans out there, lots of cool things. And, and I'm going to let Brian make the determination on this, but I would say like those Corvair vans, there's something cool and different you don't see.
Oh, yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah. I'd love to see I'd love to see at least more than one VW van.
Oh, yeah. VW microbus is right. The Econolines, A100s, B vans, the Chevy vans, all of that. Those are vans. Caravan is a van. Aerostar is a van. All of that is. The Astro vans, right? So there's lots of different kinds of them out there. Doesn't matter, truck chassis or car chassis, as long as it was a van.
Mm-hmm.
And if you question if it's a van, it's probably not a van. That is probably a lot of truth in that. But if you really want to ask Brian. But that said, we're going to be doing that. That's one thing we're doing. Another thing we've had a lot of questions about, we got a new class coming this year. And it's a class that's been put together by our friend Professor P in Dallas. And we've got Professor P in the studios. Let's welcome him.
Okay, I'm going to jump out.
Yeah. All right,
I will see you all later.
See you later, man.
Right, have any questions for Brian? Go ahead and get them over to us. We're going to be working on the van bracket. Professor P, how's it going, sir?
Good. How you guys doing today?
All right. So for those of us who are new and maybe people who are not normal regulars on the Wednesday night, but they are interested in finding out about this new class, why don't you give them a primer on this new class we're going to run for the very first time at the 4th Annual No Name Nationals?
I'm going to start with a little back history on it. So since the first time we did this 28-10-50 class, and I've always said it takes about 3 or 4 years before it gets blown out, and this last year that the genie came out of the bottle, so to speak. So me and Dallas were trying to think of something that we could make a class that everybody in this type of group could run. Hey, what's going on, guys? And that's basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to keep a lot of rules out of it, but we do want to have a few rules so that way it's not a super expensive type of race, and where most people in this chat and at this level can compete in a heads up type of racing, like a pro tree heads up racing.
Excellent. Tell them what it's called, and let's get into a little bit about what it is, because we've had a lot of interest in this. And I will tell you, I'll go ahead and tell you right now, the rules are posted at nonamenationals.com. Down at the bottom of the page, the PDF of the final edition of the rules. I just got them a couple of hours ago, hot off the press.
Literally hot off the press. Yeah,
I got a copy of them right here, so we can go through them.
Same here. So basically the reason why it took so long is we said we were going to have these by Thanksgiving, but we wanted to take some things out because it was really overdone, and we wanted to make it so it was more user friendly. So, I mean, we can go through these. I'm pretty, if you want to, we can go through them step by step.
Let's do it. Big Block 402 is giving a teaser here. This small cube class is awesome.
Yes, it is. So basically what it is, it's called the Triple Crown. I like the Triple Crown Throwdown, but whatever. It's called the Triple Crown. But the idea of it is so that way it's a small block type of class. We're going to basically, we at first started with 300 cubic inches to 368, but we kind of got rid of the 300 cubes so that way we can have smaller engines. And then instead of like a 9 pound per cubic inch, we're going to cap the lowest limit at say 2,700 pounds. And then for a 368, that comes like 3312, but you can weigh more than that. So you could be 4,000 pounds and we're going to have a lot of things in it. But the reason for this is so that way people who've got their 1990s type of street car, race car, 2000s, whatever, your Dart, your Nova, your 350 and whatnot. And we tried to give some weight breaks. So we'll go through this. So it's basically called the Triple Crown, the AHRA Triple Crown. So basically, body is basically factory OEM rear wheel drive car, truck, SUV, or van body style, allowed with OEM wheelbase. Now we have a plus or minus, 1 inch because, obviously with leaf springs, things move around, but we just don't want things that are stretched out, funny car, shortened up, your AFX type of thing.
I was going to say that.
Right.
Leave your AFX in the garage.
Right, exactly. Like basically real glass windows required, original location of firewall mandatory. So no one's going to be setting engine back. We don't want tube chassis or anything like that. So basically, location firewall mandatory, fiberglass hood, deck, lid, bumpers are allowed. So that's the fiberglass we're allowed. But basically, it's just these are for like race cars that basically people have had for a while that are not like tube chassis race cars, so to speak,
or street cars that meet the criteria.
Yes, in fact, in here, I'm not sure if you put it in here, but we do have one caveat, is that you were talking earlier about your drive. These cars that are in this race have to participate in that drive. That is part of this class. So they have to be part of the cruise. They have to drive there. And I think you said it's what, 6 miles one way?
5.9 miles each way.
Yeah. So technically 6 miles. By the time you do the loop around and park in your parking spot, we'll have a spot for everyone to park, and then we'll do a drive back with everyone when it's after we eat, and we'll go on back. And we're still working out how we're going to do that with the logistics as far as the cops go, as far as how they're going to do, because some of these are going to be allowed.
We talked about that earlier. So this year, we're going to have an escort this year. Turbo Tom is going to lead our procession to keep people from speeding and keep them together.
Sweet. Okay.
So we're working on that. So you should have minimal problems with your cruise.
Okay, good.
They're not going to be banging on people for crazy stuff, but we got to do our part.
Yeah, right. So that's for the body. So we kept that pretty loose. Chassis is OEM front and rear frame rails, full length required. Frame notching is allowed for tire clearance only. So like no back half, no ladder bars type of thing. Factory front and rear suspension pickup points are mandatory. So rear suspension as OEM designed for the vehicle, i.e. leaf spring, it's got to stay leaf spring. If it's triangulated with a coil spring, it's got to stay that. Lower control arms, panhard with like rod, coil springs, etc. So basically no back halves, no ladder bars, no tube chassis, no long travel front ends. Mini tubs are allowed to the outside frame rail and for tire clearance only. Cowl tracks, traction bars, slapper bars, adjustable control arms, and adjustable panhard bars are allowed and encouraged as long as the factory suspension pickup points are used. No ladder bars allowed unless factory equipped. So what we're trying to say is that, and that's a lot. That's very wordy for a very simple thing. If your car had, like say on a Mopar, you have super stock springs. You can move the leaf springs into the frame rail, but it cannot be moved the frame rail. Same with your Novas, your 64, 65 Novas. They have a very small tire access there, but you can relocate the springs inward. So that way it's at the same factory pickup point, just moved over. And then that way you can do the mini tub, so that way you can put the tire that you want to put into it. Basically, interior is any, so whatever you have, because it comes down to weight, and we'll get to that in a second. So now in the engine is where this is going to be a heads up pro tree type of race. So there is no bracket on this. This is basically pro tree, and we're going to post times. This is not going to be a no time thing. This is not going to be a, we're going to show the times and show how close and how well this comes out. So it's going to be fun. Going to enjoy this.
For those of you who are asking about a stick shift class, this would be a great class to put your stick shift in.
Oh, and we're going to be there in just a second. So we have actually some little caveats for you.
We had some people asking earlier.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. So engines, basically, this is the engine, naturally aspirated. So this means no nitrous, no turbo, no superchargers, no power adders whatsoever. All OEM small blocks, V8, V6, inline 6, or inline 4-cylinder with a push rod. So it's got to be a push rod style, but it's got to be a cast iron block. So, and then it comes down to 9 pounds or greater vehicle weight per cubic inch. So what that means is that if you have, say, a 368, that means the minimum weight after you race can only be 3,312 pounds. That's with you in the car, fuel in it. So don't run it so close. And there's a little spot at the end of the track, right where you get your little time slips. That's a little slot, it's kind of an open area. And we'll, set up shop there, and, we're just going to pull randomly people. So that way they kind of just, if decide, hey, we're going to have, you get weighed, and we'll have 2 weighing stations right there. So we'll work through that. So 9 pounds or greater vehicle weight per engine cubic inch. Engine manufacturer, same as vehicle manufacturer. Push rod engine, carbureted only. OEM valve angles plus or minus 1 degree will be randomly measured. What we're trying to do is, so that way if you're running a Chevrolet, say a small block Chevrolet, you have a great advantage for a lot of parts. Your one disadvantage is the 23 degree heads. So there's your disadvantage. Mopars don't have a lot of parts for them in comparative. But they have 18 degree heads. Small block Fords, 20 degree heads. I mean, they are much lighter engines. So you get some pros and cons with each one, but it has to be the same engine that's part of the car. So basically no billet heads, OEM mass produced cast iron block, points ignition, electronic ignition, DIS ignition with MSD6 or OEM EFI computer used for timing control only. So the minimum weight, like I was saying before, is 2,700 pounds, and the maximum cubic inch is 368 cubic inches, which comes out to 3,312. Now you can weigh more than that. You just cannot be under that. So whatever your cubic inch is, times that by 9, and that's your weight.
Danny Boyd mentioned valve angle measurement. I'll just put a note in here. The idea behind that is this to limit the exotic heads.
Exactly. And measuring valve angle is really easy. I mean, it really is. If you just get one of those Home Depot valve angles, you can zero it out right on the intake. You take it right off of that and you put it right onto the valve, and that will tell you exactly what it is, because 45 degrees, and you know what 45 degrees is from that angle, and then you can just multiply it out. Just do the math. It's really simple. Okay, so now we have some, where did I leave this off? Okay, so minimum weight is 2,700 pounds, maximum cubic inch 368. Okay, no sheet metal intakes, wet sump engines only. So there is no dry sump on this. So this way you got to have oil in it. There's going to be nothing exotic with that. So that way you got to work with windage just like everybody else. And so now we're going to have some weight breaks for the engines. So here it is. If you run a single 4150 carb, you can take 100 pounds off. So if you're a 368 cubic inch, and I keep going to that because that's really easy math. So that's 3,312. If you run a single 4150, that means you can have a minimum weight of 3,212. That's a minimum weight. A single spread bore, so that means your thermal quad or your quadrajet, you can have a 200 pound weight break. if you have a DIS ignition system, so this is the people running LSs or Gen 3 Hemis without a distributor, you have to add 100 pounds on top of that. So that way we can still have some, people who are running that kind of stuff. Vehicle is weighed as raced with driver and fuel after pass. So remember that. Don't run it too close. When it comes to transmission, any transmission you want. But here's another little weight break. If you run any clutch assisted manual, you get a 100-pound weight break. So there's a lot of weight breaks there.
So that would not be a Lenco.
That would not be a Lenco. That's right.
But it would be a top loader or an 833 or, any of that.
That's correct. Now, like I said, we're keeping it open for this because there's a couple things here too. If you can kind of see a recurring theme, we want to have the more of the stick shifts, the people who have more of the street cars get weight breaks because that way they don't have to really do much. They already have a car that runs in this class and then it runs good. So here's the two tires, 26 by 8.5 slicks. If you're under 3,000 pounds, so if your cubic inch and whatnot is set up so that way, and if you say your car weighs 3112, okay, you have 200-pound weight break, and then you get another 200-pound weight break. The second that you race under 3,000 pounds, you have to run this tire. So there's no advantage of getting a super light car because you have a much smaller footprint. If you're over 3,000 pounds, you can run the 28-10-5 tire. Now, this is any brand, no W's or wides. So basically, it's a 26 8.5 or 28 10.5. Wheelie bars. I'm going to read what Dallas wrote here. Don't even think about it. Your grandma is fine with a walker. Leave it at your grandma's house. So there's that. When it comes to fuel, any gasoline only. So there's a lot of no's here. No E85, no diesel, no ethanol, no methanol, no oxygenated racing fuels, no nitromethane, no benzene, no hydrazine, no propane, no electricity, or any other exotic race fuel in any percentage is prohibited. The whole idea of this is so that way there's no one getting any unfair advantage. This is set up for your pump gas guys, 110, 112. So your C110, C12, C16, C23, but you can't run into the Q stuff. Okay?
It's very simple. You can run gasoline,
yes.
and you can run ethanol in your gas in normal pump gas percentages.
Yeah, that's right.
But you can't run E85.
That's correct. Exactly. And the safety equipment is basically at the minimum. Each racer is equipped to meet the safety specs of the representative ET they run. So if you are running like under, I think, was it 735? I think 735. You're going to have at least a roll bar.
The rule book is available at nonamenationals.com, the AHRA rule book, and you will see what you need there. But it's going to depend on just how quick your car is. You'll meet the same safety standards as anyone else running down the track at an AHRA event like the No Name Nationals.
Yeah. And, and so that we make it so that way a lot of cars will fit this, and per the cubic inches and whatnot. And what we're trying to do with this is we're trying to keep cars right in that 5 to 550 range. 450 to 550 range is what we're expecting most guys to be around.
You're saying horsepower.
Yes.
Don't get excited. He's not talking about ET in the 8th mile.
No. Horsepower.
Right.
And then when you do that with the weight, that should put you, there's a lot of super stock guys who run something similar, and they're in like 670s, 680s, 690s, 70s, in that range is what I'm thinking that this is going to be. Now, that's just by going by math. I did see some comments earlier.
I got some questions. I've been backlogging. Do you want them?
Yeah, let's go for it. Do it.
Let's start with wrench in with race.
Yep.
Can you run a carb on an LS?
100% yes. But you're going to now if you run a carb on an LS, you're not going to get any weight breaks for it, because here's the thing is because if it's a distributor, if you're running a single 4150, technically you would get a 100-pound weight break. But because you have a a distributor type of ignition system, you're going to have to add it. So there is no weight break on that one. So that they cancel each other out on that one.
Dizzy is making a comment that I'm going to turn into a question.
Sure.
What kind of restrictions would you have on the heads?
None.
Except
None.
you can't run billet heads.
That's right. No billet head. So they basically, like I was saying before, it's just basically cast iron heads or aluminum heads, but no billet heads. And
your
that's got to be
have to be stock within a degree.
Yes, exactly. And here's the thing too, is that that's the reason why we added the cruise, is so that way people have to have some sort of cooling system in it. And that takes away the billet solid head type of deal.
Are tunnel rams allowed?
Absolutely. In fact, they were actually encouraged. We built this around so people could run tunnel rams.
But they must be cast, no sheet metal.
Yes, absolutely. Now here's the thing. Once again, when was it last year we did the monkey bike rules, look at what is written and what is not written. Okay. So you cannot have sheet metal, but doesn't say that you can't modify. So, but nothing can be sheet metal. So you can modify and you can weld. Just that's all I'm saying.
Twisted Mopar Garage says, can I run aviation gas? Avgas?
I think that's actual gasoline, right? Except for the dot red. Is it dot red or dot blue is oxygenated fuel. I'm gonna have to look into that because one of them is oxygenated, and one of them is not. So anything that's oxygenated, you can't run.
DNR, this is called the Triple Crown class. The rules are at nonamenationals.com. Mm-hmm. The rules, the final incarnation of the rules came out a couple of hours ago. And Professor P is on here to explain them.
Yeah.
Weight break for OptiSpark, question mark.
Negative.
So I'm not even going to question why you would want it.
Exactly.
Actually, OptiSpark carries about an 8,000 pound weight penalty because usually it's on the back of a tow truck.
Right. That's a good one.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a friend that was too once. Let's see if we've had good questions here. Levi says, so my Terminator X is allowed now as long as it's carved.
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Here is a link to the rules unfinished project. Went ahead and put up the link to the PDF itself. You don't even have to fish for it anymore. You can click right there and print it out. Right there.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What else do we have? Welcome, old man in the shop. Built, not bought. How's it going, sir? Full interior. Interior doesn't matter.
Yeah, basically interior. Basically here it says any. So any style is fine because we know that people are going to want to take weight out. So it doesn't really matter as long as all the car has to meet is just whatever the safety rules are for that.
You know what the funny part about asking about full interior is? If you walk around in the pits, the No Name Nationals, you'll see at least 50 bona fide street cars that don't have half their interior just because it's fallen apart over the last 50 years. I mean, if they're legit street cars, it's just like, yeah, that door panel fell off in 1993. I just never found one.
Yeah, right.
That stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah. So just one more thing too is that in case you didn't catch that, it has to be a push rod style of engine. Just know that for this year we're running that. We kept them kind of loose so that way we bring in a lot of racers and before the genie flies out of the bottle. But
now, a good place in general to ask questions specific to this class is on Wednesday nights on the AHRA channel, 7 to 9 Central. You have the Tech Talk Live. That's a great place to ask questions about this specific class.
And if you
go ahead.
If you have a question that you just don't want to ask, slantdailygarage@yahoo.com.
Yep.
You can go there, post your question, and I will get to it. Now, I try to check it every couple days, so if you don't hear from me right away, sometimes resend it because my spam area kind of things get like it's like a black hole. They just seem to fall in there sometimes.
Now, old man in the well, first of all, let's get Never Done Projects question here.
Sure.
He's talking about we'll see if we fit into a class. No, Never Done Projects has not yet been to a No Name Nationals, and what I'll tell you is there's a place for pretty well everything at the No Name Nationals.
Yes.
You do have to meet your safety standards for the ET that you run, but other than that, there's a place for everything. I mean, we have a bracket there. We're going to have this class. We've got a burnout pit. We're going to have a beginner bracket on a Saturday just for people who have never won or run it up in a bracket race before. And I want to do a stick shift bracket on the Saturday just for stick cars.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a place for everyone there. And we're doing match racing. So whatever you have, it's going to fit in. Don't look for a specific class. This is not your traditional race.
Yeah.
This is a YouTube content creator homecoming at a drag strip. Yes, we have some classes, but we're not built around the competition of classes, if that makes sense. Old man in the shop built not bought says no V8 swapped S10s. What does that mean?
Yeah, you can have that.
Yeah, I don't know why you couldn't. I think that'd be a great combo, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can. And in fact, we had it at one time. We were talking about having LSs at 78 and up, but as long as it's a GM product, of any type, Buick, Gold, Pontiac, Chevrolet, whatever, GMC, you can run an LS. There's gonna be some penalties as far as like distributor, that type of ignition system. But other than that, yeah, we left that open.
Twisted Mopar Garage is 10.5-inch tire only. No, you can run smaller. Dallas actually does. Dallas actually won the second annual No Name Nationals small tire class on a 10-inch tire.
Yeah.
Let's see here. That's what I like hearing. Well, you know what? That's the point of the event. Mm-hmm. And people who think this is all about racing competition are wrong. And what you'll find out is that this event is as different from racing as, say, your drag strip is from your car show. It's two completely different kinds of crowds. Yeah. It's different. It's very different. They both have a lot of cars, but they're very different. Wendy, Mrs. One-Eyed Cat just got home at 9:25. Howdy. Odren is asking, any springs are okay as long as coil for coil and leaf for leaf?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, I was going to get to that. So like if you see on this car here, on the Cookie Monster, I had leaf springs on it, but I had Caltrax. So Caltrax is allowed. Split mono leafs are allowed as long as they're in the factory pickup point. So your Mustang, I think that's what he's got, right? It would be perfect for this.
This is such a BNR question right here. Are Vertex magnetos allowed?
I don't know. Not. Yeah, I don't see why not. It doesn't say no, so yeah, go for it.
This is one I have no idea. No W's?
No W's.
A W is like a 13-inch tire. I don't even know what the point of the W was.
So just to give it more sidewall, a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, it's like, I have a 10.5-inch tire, but then they put this W on it, makes it really wide. So no W's at all.
You know what that reminds me of when I hear that question? It's like when you go and you see these women's clothes and they put these really small size numbers on really big dresses.
Right.
It's a marketing thing that doesn't fool anybody.
No.
So Dust Devil says, I'll be changing tires for this race. Right on. So he's going to be putting pizza cutters on the back of the Duster.
Yeah.
Never Done says, we just want to have fun at events. It sounds like this is a place to have fun and meet good people. Absolutely. That's the whole point. That's the whole point. This is not the guys who show up and they get mad at how their car's running and just leave. These are people who hang out the whole weekend and camp and have a good time. They help each other when their cars don't run. That's what this event is about. And you want to be part of that program if you're going to have a good time at this.
Case in point, there's actually a person in here, Levi's backyard garage, right? That guy blew up his engine, literally first pass. I mean, I walked up to the thing. He blew the thing up. They went back over. There was about 3 or 4 people helping him. They pulled that engine out. They were putting a new engine in. So he was going to go. This was actually on Saturday. I think this is when he was doing this. If he didn't break the transmission bell housing, he was actually going to make that thing run again. So yeah, there's really good people here. And you start coming to these ones. There's also we do the one on the AHRA channel on Wednesdays. Buff Del Campo does one. Tony, if you start to get to know these people, everyone's having a live. And you start to see the same people coming in and out, and you start to get to know people. And so basically it's kind of like a homecoming every year. It's kind of cool.
Culture Redneck, we do want to do a stick shift bracket for the Saturday. Because why? Because it's different. That's why. People say, well, you can't bracket race stick shifts. Yes, you absolutely can. My good friend, the late Robert Krieger, did a whole lot of bracket racing in his top loader 4-speed Ford. Might not be the best choice, but you can do it. And that's the point. If it's a stick bracket, then everybody has the same thing. And I'd like to see more 3-pedal cars turn out. And 3-pedal cars go well in this 333 class. So this could be a great year to see more stick shift stuff in Sykeston.
Yeah.
BNR is asking, Professor P, are all past and modern traction bar systems allowed or only as factory built? I would say he means things like slapper bars, Caltrax, etc.
Yeah. So I see what you're getting at. So yeah, they're allowed. Here's the thing though, is that like, let's just say a Mustang. So you have a 4-link style, triangulated 4-link. So you would have to use the style, the factory pickup points on that, but you can have those bars changed. So they could be a little longer. They can have adjustments on them, so on and so forth, but they have to be in the factory pickup points. If it's a leaf spring and you move them in, they got to be in the same spot. So yes, yeah, you can.
The Brewers can absolutely bracket race stick shift. I saw them do it. You wouldn't think a car that leaves like they do, sidestepping the clutch, picking the tire up, manually shifted with the clutch, could run consistently, but those guys can do it.
That's awesome.
Blue Grit wants to bring something else. He asks, are convertibles allowed without roll bars as long as they are slower? Is that a bad idea? You're going to have tech standards for convertibles in the rule book.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason a lot of people don't want to run convertibles is because at a relatively low ET, they do require a roll cage, which looks mondo funny in a convertible.
Yeah.
It's one big family reunion. Yes, it is. If I can swing it, I'll be running a 6-speed. Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, that's excellent. So that's a rundown on this new class. If you've heard it called the 333 class as a working title, that is this class. If you've heard the 9-pound class, that's a working title for this class. The name, the finalized name is the Triple Crown class. And it is basically a 9-pound per cubic inch heads-up Pro Tree class with a minimum weight of 2,700 and maximum cubes of 368. That's probably the best way to describe this class to someone asking.
Yep. And it's pretty open to most people in this realm that are going to be racing.
38. If one of the mods could get the link to the rules for the Triple Crown class, you can post them up, but you can also find them at NoNameNationals.com, the same place where you register.
Yeah.
You can find them right there.
And just a heads up, next Wednesday, we're not going to be having a Tech Talk Live. So it'll be the Wednesday following. And I think that's what the 8th. Is it the 8th? I had my thing up here. So that would be.
I believe that sounds right to me. Yes, it is.
It's the 8th. So we're not going to be having Tech Talk on the 1st. We're going to have it on the 8th. So if you got questions, this will give you guys some time to simmer on it and whatnot. And you know, we're here to help you guys build your engines. And here's the thing too, is that I encourage you guys to videotape your engines being built because there's obviously nothing exotic on this. So that way, as you build them and you show up with your car and the engine's in it, you know, we'll obviously be looking for cues. That way we don't have to do as much, you know, inspection on it. We've seen it been built. We've actually seen the story. So yeah.
I always put something out there for Brazil. You know what else doesn't do great? Heads up racing your tow vehicles. They're slow. But guess what? If you have a class of that, people still have fun with it. So the point is the stick shift cars, if you have an entire bracket of all stick shift cars, they all have the equal handicap of not having an automatic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. I would just like to see it as just a fun way to have more stick shift cars there. But that heads up Pro Tree Triple Crown class is a good place for that.
And if you're running a stick shift, you get a 100-pound weight break right off the bat.
Yeah.
So
you know, Frizzell, you might be able to borrow, build, or whatever, and just stick a smaller inch engine in your car for that one race. Wouldn't that be interesting?
Yeah.
Just saying. That'd be really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the kind of interesting thing that maybe Ron Ward would pick up on. And I'll mention that too. We got some time left here. if anybody has any general questions about the No Name Nationals, it's a good time to ask.
Yeah.
Twisted Mopar says, what are you going to address on traction control devices? Go ahead, grab that.
None. No traction control devices at all.
So when you say that differentiate that from things like let's say a super
electronic
screen. You're talking about electronic.
Yes, and that's the reason why we're very specific on how we said with the controls as far as what they have. So there's no traction control, no electronic traction control. That's why we have like digital 6 points. We're trying to keep a very simple type of ignition system.
So the link is up here for the Triple Crown rules. Check it out. You can also get at NoNameNationals.com directly. There is a link for it. So if you're looking later and you're not on this live, you can find it on the site. If you have any questions regarding the rules, please address them to Professor P and/or Dallas on Wednesday nights. Andrew Nelson wants to know why no EFI. So if you want some inside baseball, what was your thinking on that?
Just here's the thing is because I know that people with a computer can actually, take timing out and add timing. We just wanted to have it a simple class for simple people type of running. A carburetor was just easy, the easy button. If this works, maybe we'll do something different for fuel injection or add them to it. I don't know. But for right now, we just wanted to push the easy, simple button and go from there.
38 asks, will a carb LS running the factory ECM be allowed?
Yes. Yep. But it's like I said, it's got to be carved. But see, if you're running a 4150, you get a 100-pound weight break. But because it's an LS, you have to add 100 pounds. So that's basically a 0. So you got to read the rules carefully because there are weight breaks and there's weight adds.
But the rules actually, I got to tell you, for a class, that's not a lot of rules.
No.
And I actually don't want to see a class of No Name Nationals that you would ever have more than a page of rules. You should never have to have more than a page of rules. Something's wrong if you have more than a page of rules.
Yeah.
That said, another thing we're going to do more of this year, just moving on a little bit from that, we want to see more match racing this year. We had more match racing and more call outs the first 2 years, and we want to see going more back to that. Okay. That's kind of the roots of the event, was doing call outs, doing match races. And some of the most exciting racing we've had at the No Name Nationals were races like, Lee and Joe in the Lenco Dart and Joe's Barracuda, Barkley and Dallas, in the big Oldsmobile and in the T-Bird. And some of our best racing at this event has been match races and call outs. And we want to go back to more of that this year.
It's funny you should say that, John, because I'm actually in a point where I was actually going to make something on this. So everyone right now, so my car, I'm not running in the Triple Crown, and I'm not going to run in anything right now. I'm up for a match race. So everybody knows what my car runs. And John gave me a really good idea.
It runs a 688.
John gave me a really good idea, and I should be like, make a video of me pointing, at something. So all I'm going to say is that I'm ready for some call outs. My car runs in the 5s, and I'll be comfortable with pretty much anywhere in the 5 range. Obviously, if you're faster than me, we're going to do an instant green, but I'm ready for some call outs. So I'm here for that. I will definitely do some match races, and I'll do 2 or 3 while I'm there. So I'll do at least a couple of match races. And it's match racing to me is 2 out of 3. It's not just a one and done. So it's 2 out of 3.
Yeah. We want to see more match races, especially with the quicker cars. I got to tell you, the small tire stuff got a little out of hand this year. I don't have anything bad to say about any of the 28-10-5 guys. Wonderful guys. So they were all so nice. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't want the class to get out of hand with this event.
Mm-hmm.
I still want to see fast cars at No Name Nationals.
Yep.
But I think a great format for them, because here's the thing with 28-10-5. There's a lot of attrition. There's a lot of people who say I'm running in it, and then when it actually comes time to do a $100 buy-in at the tower to the driver's meeting to do a chip draw, they're not there for a couple of reasons. Either stuff breaks, they don't have their car done, or they see some really fast stuff on the property and are like, nope. And so between all of that, we got to decide how feasible that is. So one thing that's definitely feasible is we set up match races with some of these cars ahead of time. And I think that's a great thing. I think it's going to work really well with this event. We have every much as good a chance of seeing the event ET record go down this year as we did last. The event ET record, even though we generally don't do much with the ETs for various reasons, especially because you're all YouTube content creators, you want to tell people what you ran, tell people what you ran. But the event ET record is a 519. So, there's still plenty of chance for that. Any other general questions about the No Name Nationals? We're going to have probably more information as time goes on. We always get a lot of questions about camping, local accommodations, passing tech. We get a lot of questions about that, and we'll always do that. But we're going to be announcing on this channel on Fridays. This is generally the best place for an overall news source. Okay. And this channel is the official news source. That's why I told Dallas Professor P, I said, when you finalize the rules and get me the final edit, send it over here. We'll disseminate it from here so that people can know there's one place you can always count on the info. Just the things that not change, right? Do the tickets get mailed or do we print them or pick it up at the gate? If you buy tickets ahead of time at nonamenationals.com, you get a $5 discount on a weekend pass. And you are then put on will call. So you just go to your ticket booth, you give them your name, and you'll get your wristband. Simple. Nothing gets mailed out, nothing to worry about. That's all you have to do.
Yep.
Or if you don't buy them ahead of time, you can get them at the gate. They're a little bit higher. A little bit, not much, but it's because I can't. Well, first of all, it's very nice, having commitments to people who buy tickets early. So we give them a discount. It's still a good ticket price, regular special event price at the gate, like other special events at Skelton Raceway. But you can buy them at the gate. Thing is, about a week before the event, I have to take tickets off the website so that I can have a hard printed list for will call.
Yeah.
If you still see them up on the website, you can still buy them. So if I'm a day or even 2 days late taking them down and getting my will call list in hard copy, well, that's your benefit. And you made it, right? But once it comes down off the website, then at that point, then you have to buy them at the gate.
And here's another thing too about buying your tickets early is that John doesn't know about this. And I was actually just going to announce this right here. Is that if for people who don't know, I'm an engineer for Edelbrock. I'm getting Edelbrock on board with this. So and we're still working out how we're going to do this. But if you have a number, an actual number, and John can confirm it, when you buy your parts from Edelbrock, that's not just Edelbrock, that's Comp Cams, that's Lunati, Zex. I mean, there's a lot of TCI.
Would that be like the TCI group?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the Edelbrock group. Anything in that, we're going to give you a better discount than you can actually buy it from Summit or if you have an ATEC account.
Nice.
So we're still working on how that's going to go, but that's going to be something that we're working into this year. So there's a payoff for buying it early. What's that?
That would be people who have a car number.
Exactly. So once you have a car number and the number is confirmed, and that means it comes to me, I make John tells me yes, I get a thumbs up from John.
Yep.
That means that when you buy your parts directly from us, you get it at a substantially discounted rate.
Nice. That's outstanding. That's excellent. Yeah. That's the community taking care of its own right there.
Exactly.
And I can tell you, for those of you who are new, because we've got a lot of new folks in here, new faces tonight, Professor P is not here stumping on behalf of the company. He's a bona fide member of our community. Yeah. He just happens to work for a company we buy stuff from.
It's funny. I'm a race car driver that and a racer that just happens to be an engineer. I mean, if you look around here, if you look in my garage, I mean, I've got cars on lifts, you know, I got one car here, another car there. There's two out in the garage. I got one in the trailer. I'm a racer, so I get it.
It is very cool, Danny Boyd. Yes, it's very cool. Very much appreciated. And we have just Mopar Joe sliding in here in the waning hours of the live. All right, Mopar people, I've got to face off against Professor P again at No Name Nationals in 2025. Definitely before then. I'm at the in-laws and trying to catch up on the chat.
me and just Mopar Joe, man, I love that dude, man. He's awesome. But he just had some issues on the last one, so we're just gonna push it to 2025. But there's one, so I need a couple more match races. So that's when you match race. Remember, it's 2 out of 3, and we'll decide on the tree. But The way my car's set up, a 5/10 tree is hard because I will go red. So it's either pro tree or instant green for me. That's just the way it is.
That's right. Barkley put on a great match race. I want to see more match racing. So anyway, we'll be talking with folks about match racing as the season progresses. This is kind of the official start of the season, the last Friday of the year. It traditionally is the start of the season. There's Mr. Rodder's neighborhood sneaking in here. He's asking Joe, why don't you match race me? Look at that, Dallas calling his shots. We've got Stephen Holtz here. How's it going, sir? Glad you could make it. But yeah, so lots of exciting things going on this year. As with every No Name Nationals, we always have a lot of things that are traditional. We always have a few things that are new, but we always have a great time. And you'll always see a lot of new faces and a whole lot of returning faces too, and that's what makes it what it is. But that said, my recommendations to people are, especially if you're new, get your registrations in early. The earlier you register, especially if you need your subs, the sooner you're going to get on everybody's radar.
Yep.
Again, that probably lands on your ears better coming from somebody besides me, but I bet you that the No Name 500 people in the chat will attest that it makes a big difference to helping you get your subs. I have seen people, especially the first year, who were disappointed in how much of a struggle they had getting their subs, and every one of them, when asked, registered far later. We're like, well, people don't know you're trying to get your subs because you're not registered. And so registering is that good faith show that I've paid my entry fee, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, I'm risking my ego, and I'm making content. And the people who do that, they make it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that just kind of throws your hat in the game, and actually it gives you a goal, something to shoot for. So it's really
the difference between a goal and a dream is having a time frame and an action plan.
Exactly. And that little orange sticker in the little tab in the back tells you exactly what your goal is. So we got 200.
So we got your time frame right here.
That's right.
Doing is better than dreaming. People who dream and don't actually do don't make it. You guys are the collection of doers.
Yep.
Let's see if I can. Scroll up. I don't know if I can. Maybe I can. For whatever reason, this computer does not like to scroll up. Brazil says, I'm down for a Ford versus Mopar match race. See, that's where your car's really going to shine, Bobby. Really. Really. You know, the match races actually give a little more individual attention to cars that are match racing. You know, and your car, the way it looks with the stick and everything, I can see, and I'm not speaking for him by any means. I can see that being something Ron Ward would probably like.
Oh, yeah.
Ron generally enjoys the event. He also is, by the way, and just so that we don't gloss over this or take it for granted, Ron Ward, the voice of the No Name Nationals, will be again returning for 2025. He genuinely loves the event, and we love having him. So
yeah, he's awesome. And here's the thing too, is that when you do match racing, it's all about the show, right? So like when me and Joe went, I did a half-track burnout. Just for funsies, you know?
That's right. 6th Street Garage is asking how much is the registration fee. This year it is $90 for one car with one human. Okay. It does break down the fees by exactly what you bring.
Are you still there? I think you froze.
On so hand in hand with the, you can't see you. I could hear you, couldn't see you. That was weird.
Oh, okay.
This year, something a little bit different. Well, this part will be the same. We're going to bring back the monkey bike class. The monkey bike class has been growing leaps and bounds. It made a big step forward last year. They were faster and more exciting than ever. We do need to make a few little refinements to it, and I'm going to be reaching out to the guys in the class. We'll be talking about that here real soon, but don't expect any radical changes. We really like the trajectory monkey bike was on. We had more monkey bikes there last year than the year before. They're quicker, they're exciting. I really enjoyed watching monkey bikes. So look for more of that. But here's one cool thing about monkey bike. You don't have a separate entry fee for it unless it's the only vehicle you bring. So if you participate in monkey bike and you don't have any other vehicle there participating, yes, you would pay a registration for that so you can race and get a car number. But if you have a car there, you don't have to pay a separate registration for the monkey bike.
I think I just see the very first match call out in here. I think just Mopar Joe and Dallas are on. I think that's a setup.
I could see that.
Yeah, I think they just agreed to it right there in the chat.
Well, we have a link here for Ron Ward, the voice of the No Name Nationals. That's his channel. I could see old Joe and Dallas making a good run of it.
Yeah, that would be good.
Two of our rock stars at the No Name Nationals, both of which are prominently featured in the intro to these live streams for good reason. Does anybody have any questions specifically about the event? Just anything in general? We're going to be live. We plan to be live every Friday from now until then. The only time I'm typically not live on a Friday is during the No Name Nationals, because there's a lot of people streaming from the Burnout Pit. So we don't have that show. LSS drone. No, not really.
I was laughing, man.
I have a better answer for that, but I won't.
When I saw that, I was laughing, and I was like, probably not, dude.
No, it's pretty much a Hillshire Farms party, but anyway. I'll race anybody on a monkey bike. Trans brake allowed in Triple Crown. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stevens is not usually.
So on the Triple Crown here for transmission, it basically just says automatic any, and then any clutch assisted manual get 100-pound weight brake. That's the only rules. So there's only two: any automatic and any clutch assisted manual, and you get 100-pound weight brake. So that's it. Beyond that, figure out what you want.
We'll have to talk about that blue grid. That would just be super confusing, but we'll work something out.
Oh, that would be awesome, because that means his daughter's going to start driving.
Levi's Backyard Performance says, I'm not calling anyone out. You know I'll be there and be breaking my good motor down. Yeah, probably. Interested in a stick shift class. B&R, the Triple Crown class is a great place to bring your stick shift, and we're going to have a stick bracket. The problem with a stick class is now you're starting to try to build the event around a niche group who are there for that and not the No Name Nationals. At that point, you're basically trying to bring the gear jammers in to take over the event. I think we can do a whole lot with what we have here. We can have a lot of great stick cars there with what we have.
And like you said, in the Triple Crown class, you get a weight break for having a stick shift, so bring them on.
Yep. Great place for it. I want to see a good stick shift wheel stand.
Oh, yeah.
We've had some great wheel stands at No Name Nationals from automatics. I want to see one with a manual transmission.
Yeah, especially when he's in the air and he's pulling second gear and he's speed shifting to second and the thing just sets down nicely. Oh, that's awesome. That's good.
Not many gear jammers left. Nope. Dallas has got some aspirations here. If anybody have any other just in general questions about the No Name Nationals, I know some of you guys have just swung in here on fourth shift in the live, and we just want people to know. Yeah, Twisted Mopar, I'm removing the 4-speed out of the Dart. Steven needs a new case for his TKO 600. I will say, so for those of you who are just joining us, 'cause I know some people come in right at the end for whatever reason, and we will be running the 4th annual AHRA No Name Nationals at Skelton Raceway in Sikeston, Missouri, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, September 18th through the 20th, 2025, which is in 265 days, 2 hours, 7.5 minutes. and it promises to be a good time. We are adding a Triple Crown class, a van bracket. We're going to have an emphasis on match racing this year, and we want to have a stick shift bracket on the Saturday. See what kind of turnout we can have for that. And Colleen brings up a good point. We're going to talk more about this in depth on a future live stream, but I'll go ahead and bring it up now. So this year for awards, we're going to have a community cookout. Dallas had the community cookout idea, and Possum and I are going to expand upon that idea, and the track wants to participate in it, and we're going to have picnic tables and have a big together gathering with smoked meat, sides, drinks on ice, and all that good stuff. So we're going to have a community cookout for all of the attendees and participants and all that good stuff at the end after awards on Saturday. I know some people take off a little early right after awards. I get that. There's a lot of people who stay on Saturday and go back Sunday morning because of the way the event works. And so this event is for all those who can and want to stay.
Good.
I think so too, because I got to tell you, we were doing a test program with night racing this year to No Name Nationals on a Saturday. And what we found out is that everybody said it was a good idea on a Thursday. And come Saturday, people were worn out.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that we got a weather report that it was supposed to rain Saturday night. And so we thought it was not going to happen. So that's the reason why me and Dallas packed up, because our plan was to stay and do some more match racing. But it said that it was supposed to rain. So that's why we packed up and left.
Old McDonald, no. If you have a registration or a spectator ticket, if you are supposed to be on the grounds and you're paid to be there, you can be in the pits and everywhere except the tower, per se. The tower really needs to be reserved for people working the event because it gets really busy up there. The tower is not a hangout spot. Ron Ward's got his job. I got my job. The people running over the clocks and everything have their job. People need to courier things up and down from the tower. So the tower is the place that we need to keep people out of and hangers out of. But other than that, you got your pass. You got your run of the grounds.
Yeah.
Big family event. Yes, it is. It is a family-friendly event. Do not worry about bringing your kids. We encourage you to bring your kids.
My kids come every year and they basically just run wild. They have helmets on. They ride their scooters everywhere.
I will say, in general, it seems to have been a not only family-friendly event, but a safer place to bring your kids.
Absolutely.
People generally drive responsibly in the pits. We know everybody because, see, that's the thing. You don't generally just come there anonymously. These participants, you know them from YouTube. You know who they are, where they're from, all that good stuff. There's a lot of accountability there, and it seems to be a pretty safe place to let your feral children roam in general.
True. I have feral children.
Cannot wait for 2025. I hope to have something to take down the track. Ken, you got 265 days, 2 hours, 4.5 minutes to do it. Make it happen. You can do it.
And by the looks of your picture right there, that car would be in this class just fine.
So he's got a Duster in that picture, but yeah, you could do it. And the Mean Street Mopar, your truck has a 318. That'd be perfect to bring.
Yep.
That needs the least to happen. You can do it. Where is Mean Street Mopar on his subscriber count? This is his year.
If you post it, I'll sub to it right now. I'm not sure if I am.
LSS Drone, it does sound good. And Possum and I were talking about it. Again, the original idea was Dallas's. And Dallas did some grilling the first year, and people brought a lot of meats to grill. I think it's a wonderful idea. I think we just want to kind of codify it into the event and actually put it on the event schedule this year. And we've done that before. We've taken ideas that we kind of tested out and then see what works, and then they make it into the schedule for the following year as a formal part of the event. DNR, it's a good question to ask. I would like to see a robust group of stick shift guys come out and we could do a live stream with them to talk about racing stick cars.
Be awesome.
Mean Street Mopar is at 258 subscribers, and there is a link to his channel. He's over the halfway mark. He can do it. Blue Grit Garage did it. Blue Grit Garage not only got his subscribers a few at a time, he is a warrior. He posted a lot of content. He made it happen, brought out his car. He ran in the bracket on the Friday with a stick shift. He got in the burnout pit with it, put on a great show in the burnout pit. Then he won the beginner bracket on the Saturday with it. And he won the Iron Man award for his efforts. And it was
bitching.
well deserved. And Mean Street Mopar's got a new sub already, Raven Trans Garage. Right on. Here's a link to Blue Brick Garage's channel if you want to check him out. He and his daughter Anna, they run a good program over there. He was a real standout all-star from the No Name 500 of last year.
Agreed.
He was one of the rock stars from that class. We have standouts every year. He's definitely one from 2024. Right on. That Mustang was fun to watch. Yes, it was. Does anybody else have any other questions? We got just a few minutes left. We're going to be live every Friday throughout the year. So, if anybody has anything, let us know. And Bigfoots and Mopars makes a good point. He says everybody here needs to come and get one more person they know to come each year. Yes, and that is how we grow it. Lars is making a quick plug here if you'd like No Name Nationals hoodies or hats. Oh, I do have. For those who have not seen, here we go. These are hats. Have you seen that, Professor P?
No, that looks awesome.
Flex Fit, yeah. Gunslinger Graphics does these. They are nice. They are nice stuff. Flex Fit mesh. The logo, good looking stuff. So you can go to the link below to order one of those. And we have two different kinds of hoodies.
Oh, I want one of those. Absolutely.
Yes,
That's
sir.
awesome.
We got the Gildan and we got the Porton Company. So they are available at the link below too. And it is the season because nothing warm coming up anytime soon.
No. I got the heater on the garage right now.
We keep the prices as reasonable as we possibly can. We do make just a little bit on hats, shirts, hoodies, and it all goes straight into the No Name Nationals, every bit of it. Indirect Connection says, I'm bringing my family this year if all works to plan. Wife's getting in the channel and running her slant 6.3 on the Tree Valiant. Right on. That sounds great.
That's awesome.
That sounds cool. Twisted Mopar wants to know what's happening with Stone Soup. I don't know. You have to ask Victor. Nothing like 3 pedals. I agree. And parking brake doesn't count.
Yep. The Cookie Monster is my very first automatic race car. Very first one.
My hat is a tad small. Must have been an A-body hat.
That's funny.
And by the way, too, just to let you know, we do have this too. So this kind of stuff right here, this is embroidered. And we tell you, with embroidery, we can't do the AHRA logo. So that's why it's like that on the shirt and the hat if it's embroidered. It's because it won't scale down. Oh. However, we were able to get the No Name Nationals logo to scale really nicely in embroidery. And there are hats like this available too. And they're really nice. This is what I wear at the event. Thing is, if you want a hat like that, it's going to cost more and it's going to take longer. It's a special order item, but you can get them if you want. Just saying so.
I think it's almost time to step up for the sombrero hat, like the straw hats. No Name of Nationals straw hat.
Yeah. We might be able to do something like that.
I'll be the first one. I just want the first one. How about that?
Yeah. And we're going to add, yes, Stephen, it is embroidered and it's nice. It's embroidered and it's nice. We're going to step up a little bit and offer some different merch this year that we haven't before. We do want to offer a nice lady shirt like we haven't before. We're probably going to have some koozies this year, that kind of stuff. So we try to add a few new things and expand a little bit prudently every year. Buff says that he's going to have a slant 6 dart there. Mm-hmm. Cool. Mean Street Mopar says, thanks for the encouragement. Glad to be part of such a great community. We're glad you're here, man. But this is your year. Now you've got 265 days, 1 hour, 58 and a half minutes to get 241 subs. Surely this is your year.
Yes.
And those of you who got cards, you're welcome. And by the way, if you didn't get a Christmas postcard from me, one, either the mail's slow or hadn't gotten there yet, or I don't have your address where I've sent you anything in pirate ship or whatever. So you can just send me your email and I'll put you on the list. I do plan to do a mid-season No Name Nationals mailer this year. it's going to be really cool. It's going to help encourage people. Hey, do you want to register again? A mid-season mailer, and you'll be on that list if you send me that. Blue Brick Garage liked the card. Yeah. One of my uncles said, we didn't know what that was, but we gave it to her daughter, and she's like, oh, yeah, she knew instantly.
Even my kids knew what that was when I brought it in. They're like, it's Uncle Eddie. It's Uncle Eddie, but it's John.
Dean Stevenson, by the way, has the Fame Money Community No Name Nationals 2024 shirt, but we printed his upside down because he's in New Zealand.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys are welcome. If I had your address from sending you something before, or in pirate ship, or you won something, that's the deal. And Buck's also going to have a 6-cylinder Zephyr there. Excellent. Excellent. We got to have that Fairmont body represented at No Name Nationals. Does anybody have any last things? Because I'm going to wrap it up. And you guys all have a great weekend. Do you have anything, Professor P?
No, just once again, we're going to be on the 8th. It'll be the first Wednesday night Tech Talk with me and Dallas on the AHRA channel. And if you want to look at the rules, have any questions or suggestions or whatnot, but as of right now, I think these are pretty well set in stone. And slantdailygarage@yahoo.com if you got any personal questions you want to post about the class, and I'll answer them when I get to them. Other than that,
things like competition-oriented questions, we could understand why you might not want to do it. That said, these guys are not here for you to pick their brain and figure out how to rule the class. They're here to help you interpret what the rules say.
To a point.
I know some of you guys want to mine.
We left it for open interpretation. Some people can kind of, get creative. That's the whole idea, is that you got to get creative. And you got over 260 days to do it. So have some fun.
But that said, where a great place to learn racing tips and tricks in general is on Wednesday nights on the AHRA Tech Talk Live. And Lars just put up a link to it. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them. We're going to have Deke on an upcoming live stream. Also here in January, we're going to have Tom Sarmento back on. If you guys aren't familiar with him, he is one of the mechanics for Warner Brothers who built the General Lees back in the 80s. And we're going to have him back on. He has some new stuff he wants to talk about. And we got some other guests coming up. But anyway, for this, you guys have a great new year. And I hope to see you all again in 2025.
You guys have a good time.
Take care.